Raiden's Sunfire team is already one of the best teams in Genshin Impact, but with Yelan, this team's damage became even better. The idea of this team is to use Bennett and Jean to do the Sunfire reaction, where Jean constantly swirl Bennett aura and deal a lot of damage to the enemies, while Raiden and Yelan will deal a lot of damage by themselves and deal overload and vaporize reaction in between. With Yelan instead of Q, you give Raiden even more damage bonus with Yelan passive, letting your Raiden deal a greater damage than with Q. Q damage reduction loss doesn't really matter since this team has 2 healer, and each of Yelan burst tick is slightly higher than Q, making the double damage from Vaporize even better. Having 4 different elements in the same team is also a benefit for Yelan, who will get even more HP bonus with her passive, letting her deal even more damage. With this team you'll do a lot of reaction, from swirl, overload, vaporize and electro charge. That's why AM substat is also pretty good in this team. One thing to keep in mind with this team, you need to know which burst you cast first, since Yelan, Bennett and Jean burst duration differ from each other. Yelan has 15 seconds duration, Bennett burst is around 12 seconds, while Jean has 10 seconds duration on her burst. Raiden herself has around 7 seconds duration on her burst. So, if you do the correct rotation then all of their burst will be active at around the same time, making the Sunfire over Vaporize reaction work as intended. The rotation for this team is really easy. We start with Raiden's skill followed by Yelan's skill and burst. We use Yelan's skill and burst early not only to let her passive buff ramp up but because her burst has the longest duration between all of our support. Next we use Bennett burst and skill to activate Noblesse buff, followed by Jean's skill and burst. As long as you're standing on top of Bennett burst, Jean will continuously swirl the pyro aura on yourself, dealing a lot of damage and aura to the enemies. Finally, we use Raiden burst and just go unga bunga with her. Right now, Yelan passive have already ramped up to around 25%, letting Raiden burst deal a lot more damage. After Raiden burst, Yelan, Bennett and Jean burst will have around 8 seconds duration left, which is matching with Raiden burst duration. To build this team, 4-piece emblem is perfect for both Raiden and Yelan. Having over 200% ER on Raiden will be great since the ER not only give Raiden more damage, it also help battery her teammate burst. Yelan also needs around 190% ER to burst every rotation, but with Favonia's bow, which we get for free from the main storyline, we can reduce her ER to around 160%, and it will also help with her teammate energy requirement, which is why Favonia's bow is really recommended on Yelan. For Bennett, 4-piece Noblesse is the best, since he can also give 20% more attack for your Jean and Raiden. He also needs around 215% ER to burst every rotation. Jean also needs around 200% ER for her to burst every rotation, and 4-piece VV is a must since it also helps her dealing more swirl damage for her stat. Unlike a normal Jean who wants a lot of attack and Nemo damage, Sunfire Jean wants a lot more EM instead, since the majority of her damage comes from swirling Bennett aura. This team is already one of the best team without Yelan, but now it became even stronger. But against enemies that can be knocked back this team doesn't fare as well. That's why knowing different team composition can help you deal with a lot more scenarios. So, here's another video that I think can help you with that. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like and consider subscribing for more team building content. Thanks.